IMF has estimated that sub-Sahara Africa's GDP will decline by 1.6% due to the impacts of COVID-19 this year. In the meantime, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement has now been postponed to sometime next year as countries do their best to deal with the fallout of the virus and the mitigation thereof. The IMF has said that African countries that were previously on the back foot economically and fiscally will be even more hard hit. Very few countries are expected to have that much fiscal room needed to magically repair the economic damage that will be felt. Beyond the immediate economic difficulties, one expert is advocating that African countries will need to work together in order to properly recover. I'm joined via Skype by Yamkela Makupula. She's the CEO of Diaz, Reus, Africa. Thanks very much for joining us, Yamkela. So what is it that African companies and countries need to be doing right now to seize opportunities in this current pandemic crisis?
Hi, thank you so much. And this is a conversation that we unfortunately can't be having post-pandemic because, number one, this is a pandemic that we don't know how long it's going to take. We need to be sitting together now as African countries, especially at an AU level. As much as we are saying we are postponing the signing of the trade agreement and everything else, but then how do we start from now to start combining our resources, to bringing them together in order for us to be able to achieve certain things? One thing that has proved, this pandemic has proved to us, is that we need proper infrastructure in Africa. And that needs the role of government and the private sector. We need to come together and come with an integrated plan with regards to how do we implement the systems that are going to allow us to be able to communicate with one another.
Yeah.
Because one of the most important things that we're going to see that is not going to happen, people will be scared to travel. And now we're saying that, but we want people to continue investing in the African continent. How do they do that when our infrastructure is not allowing them to do that? When they are not able to communicate and they are not able to see these resources via Skype and other things. So we have all these resources, but we need to start working in an integrated way that all the investors and everyone must have access to the whole of the African region, not just South Africa, not just Nigeria.
Yamkela, let me interject there. So all the things that you stated, absolutely correct. But obviously these are issues that were there even before COVID-19 came. You know, we're a highly abundant continent with all the resources. Some areas are better than others in terms of having a well-educated population on the continent. But somehow we missed the trick there and we just haven't got it right. We've had the AU structure, formerly the OAU and so on. What is it that we've been getting wrong? Because obviously we do want to entice private sector investment, but surely there must be a reason why that infrastructural investment just hasn't come up to speed as yet, even before COVID-19. And what makes it worse as well, with COVID-19, governments and countries are going to have to find resources they don't have to fix some of the problems that have arisen as a result, and therefore have less resources to deal with the issue of infrastructure.
And that's Hi.
Do proceed.
And that's exactly what yes, thank you. The main reason or the main problem that we had is because we were trying to go and present ourselves to the world one by one. You know, we'd go as South Africa or SADC, but then not combining our resources, which fails us because as South Africa alone, if you look at the world economy, we fall way below. But then combined as Africa, all of a sudden we have 1.2 billion people, meaning we have a huge workforce, meaning we've got all these resources that we can put together. The reason why we were not able to do any of these things, it's still because we are still complying on, I'm sorry to say, but the colonial system that we never created ourselves. And that's where we are. and we need to decolonize completely and see how do we come together as the Africans. And COVID-19 is actually pushing us now. It's giving us no choice to actually decolonize and integrate. And that's the only way that we're going to be able to go to the world and have a stand. Because if you look at the rand now versus a dollar, where are we standing? Nowhere. But then if we now come together as Africa, all of a sudden we've got something to take when we're speaking to the G20, when we're speaking to the other world leaders, because we're not just speaking on behalf of one country. We're sitting with Zimbabwe that is sitting in sanctions, that it's not able to participate anywhere in the world. We need to identify such things, and there has to be a way that African leaders, because Zimbabwe alone is not going to be able to fight their fight of sanctions. It needs African leaders to come together to assist in that. The Sudan, whatever is happening. So there's a lot that is happening, but as individuals, and that's what we've been doing, thinking that individually I can achieve A, B, C, and D. COVID-19 is saying no. On your own, you are nothing. You're not going to win the fight. And I'm glad that South Africa is leading the AU chair this year, because we have the ability to integrate these countries.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Yamkela, for your comments. That's where we're going to end it. That was Yamkela Makupula. She's the CEO of Diaz, Reus, Africa.